Spelling, oh my gosh. You know, it's important because if not, they make fun of you.
I think, you know, even with the use of spell check, you know, there are basic grammar rules and spelling and they're basic rules of the road, so to speak, that you really have to know. I think in order to be a good reporter and a good writer, whether you're writing for a newspaper or a blog or even using Twitter.
Incredibly important. If you send out a press release or if you're talking to a reporter and you send them an email and you don't have the proper spelling and grammar, they're never going to cover your story.
But when your editors are editing you and they come across something that you said were W-E-apostrophe-R-E instead of word W-E-R-E, you know, like, this is why I hired you.
And so even if you can shoot awesome video, if your entire career is going to be video based, that's great, but at some point you're going to need to communicate with other people using the written word. And if your spelling skills are not good, if your grammar skills are not good, if your ability to put together an interesting sentence that draws people in is not very good, then all the other flashy stuff is really just kind of an unnecessary add-on.
It's absolutely important. If you can't have a command of the language, then you're not a journalist. I mean, that is one of the requirements. It's law for this career. A tip I can give you: if you know your grammar, spelling, and punctuation, and you make your copy editors do less work, your copy editors are much happier with you, and they will actually find information that you may not have. They can help you out with that. So, by having all that information, by being able to have a grasp of the language, it just makes your job that much easier.
Well, it's pretty important in any kind of communications. It gives you credibility. It's like having spinach in your teeth is what bad spelling and grammar is like.
I wish I'd gone to class more. Seriously, you know, I mean, I'm a pretty quick study. I figured out pretty quickly what I could get away with. And there are classes that I specifically signed up for because it was a great professor and a topic I was interested in. And I got, you know, boyfriend-itis or something stupid. and there were classes that I skipped that I look back now and I think, what was I thinking? You know, that money had been spent, good money, by myself and working and my parents to go to these classes with a professor that I knew was excellent and a topic that I was interested in. You know, the boyfriend's long gone. My regrets are still here.
I wish I had learned more web skills, HTML, Dreamweaver, even Photoshop is not a web skill, but you're going to need to know how to edit photos and stuff to put online.
I probably didn't get involved in student activities enough. I wasn't involved in PRSSA, the student portion of PRSA, and now I wish that I had been. I think it would have helped me know more about the profession before I graduated.
I didn't really get out of my comfort zone that much. I worked at the campus paper for all 4 years, and that was sort of my frat. And that was sort of where I was all the time. I didn't really get out of that comfort zone and go get involved with other stuff as much as I wish I had.
And I wish I learned how to seize the opportunity when it was there. Talking to professors or anybody about my career or anything, you know, they're there to help, and they are a lot of help.
It would have been, I think, done more than one internship. That's the biggest advice I could give someone.
The thing I wish I learned in school was not to be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to fail. Learn it. Do the work you have to do. Don't necessarily feel like you have to write everything out, try everything, and talk to everybody. Try out what you want to try out. If you fail, you fail. You learn from it and you move on, you do it again. By doing it right, by failing, by learning from your mistakes, it's only going to make your work that much better at the end. Get your degree. Speaking from somebody who does not currently have it, get your degree. Mass communications degree, 4-year degree, I think that's the best one you want to go to. What you also want to do is be well-rounded as you get your degree. Take some internships, do the work also, because it's not just a piece of paper that's going to get your foot in the door. It's going to be the clips you create, it's going to be the video you learn, it's going to be the online skills that you learn. By having all those skills and by having produced them for somebody else, for a paper, for a website, for a TV station, that's what's going to help it. But to answer that question, a 4-year mass comm degree, get that.
I eventually do want to go back to school, but for now, I think a 4-year degree is, of course, you know, vital and essential, but I say getting that 4-year degree and the experience, you know, getting out there and working is more important than getting a master's degree.
I think that ultimately depends on your long-term goal. If you, for instance, want to teach in the future, I would encourage someone in that case to get a master's.
Depends. You don't have to have a master's degree, but it helps you. It helps.
I know it sounds cheesy, but just work extremely hard. Treat your 4 years here at the university as your training on job, because when you go out into the field, they're not going to train you, and they expect you to hurry up and get to the program and be at the same status that some of the other reporters are. So treat your college times, have entirely fun though, and love to come back. I love Texas State, but treat your time at the university as if you were preparing, as if it was on the on-job training for what you're doing next. And make sure that if you choose what you want to do next, make sure it just makes you happy.
I suggest that they pay attention as much as they can. Like if they're going to go into newspapers, to read as much as they can. Read how stories are structured. Read how reporters handle writing a lead. Read how they who they interview for particular type of people they interview.
Read. Keep up with the industry that you're interested in. If you know that you want to go do corporate communications, keep up with what's going on, and continue to make as many connections that you can. A lot of networking. Go to events like Mass Communications Week, because you never know where you're going to meet somebody, or you're going to pick up something that you know you want to do for the rest of your life.
You have to be curious about things. You have to want to learn about new industries that you're not familiar with. You have to be able to be flexible.
One thing that's really important for students is not to think you're going to have that job when you graduate, but be ready to work your way up through the organization and make sure that you're getting the skills that you need from the bottom up.
Definitely the willingness to learn new things and the ability to adapt to changing either technologies or your day won't always be the same every day, so kind of be willing to go with what needs to be done, deadlines, priorities, etc.
Networking and being a good listener. Learn how to be a good listener. I can't even emphasize more. It's a given skill. It also can be a trained skill, and not just in class, but just listen, learning to listen to people, their stories, that kind of, for marketing, it gives you certainly a nice foundation.
Read an array of different types of work, read an array of newspapers, an array of websites, and I think that's as important as going to class and studying and that type of thing. I would also say, look for opportunities, look for internship opportunities, write for the school paper, basically do anything you can to, polish your craft.
Listen, pay attention, show up, tell the truth, don't get tied to the outcome.